Jennie, this isn't a question either, but it is to you. Earlier on, you said that Prince Charles, the King, being the father, should have said, you know, I'm the parent, then, you know, we should sort it out. Meghan is exactly the same. Her parent has tried and tried and tried, and she's not having none of it. Arthur, I think me and you agree. I think we're on the same page here. What's the common denominator?
It is, yeah, Meghan.
No, I get that, but I still think that Charles, and I think he does, have his arms figuratively open to Harry, not unconditionally and not unforgivingly, but would like to establish, I think, a relationship with his younger son. Meghan, yeah, I don't know why. It's very odd that she is totally estranged from almost everyone in her family except her mother, and I think one cousin that we know about. And now she has estranged Harry from his. I mean, it's tragic, I think.
Well, yeah.
Is it this lady there?
Thank you. What are your fondest memories of our dear late Queen?
Oh, well, magnificent woman. Magnificent woman. I remember, I've covered the Queen for 40 years, and I really did. When you went a job with the Queen, you waited for her to smile, because at some stage she would really smile. There's a picture there of her smiling there. And when she did that, it was just one that you always got a great picture, because she's just, as I say, you know, she just lit up. And I remember once someone saying, when the Queen smiles, the whole world looks great. But, you know, she was a magnificent way she operated the same way. You remember Jennie always turned up on time, always politely shake the little mayor's hand. She'd walk in and she'd talk to people. And I remember we went to Washington once, and she was going into this project, and there was this lady, Alice Frazier, and she was coming to this house, and the Secret Service said, look, no count, would you shake hands with the Queen? No count, unless she offers you a hand. No count, speak to the Queen unless she speaks to you. And no account, nobody move. The Queen walked into the room, this lady rushed across the room, grabbed the Queen and hugged her.
Yes, that's
and,
right.
I remember I got this picture of it, and I can't believe it. And overnight, that picture of mine published in every American newspaper the next day, and overnight that woman became a star. And the only paper that never printed that picture was The Sun. And a year later, British Airways rang up and said, we'd like to use that picture in our magazine because she's coming over. And I said to the editor, well, there's British Airways on the phone, they want to use that picture. I said, you know, the one of that lady hugging the Queen that we never published. And he gave it to him, but, you know.
I think I loved her absolute passion about horse racing.
Oh, God,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
she lived and breathed it. And there was an occasion in the Royal Box, it was captured on film for one of Eddie Mertzhoff's films, I think. And the Queen had won the Royal Box sweepstake. And she'd won £15, and it was put into her hand. And she said, "Oh!" And the Queen Mother went. She said, "Look, mummy, I've won! I've got £15!" And the Queen Mother said, "Oh, darling, you're crying about it." She said, "No, mummy, it's just the wind. The wind has got in my." And she got such a thrill out of that. I mean, she was
She had a great sense of humour, the Queen. I mean, it's a great story. You probably all heard it. We ran it in the paper recently, about the Queen up at Balmoral, and she's walking with a detective, and come across these two Americans, and they see them, and they say to the Queen, "Have you ever met the Queen?" And she says, "No, but he has." And so they immediately leave the Queen and rush over to sort of talk to Dick. And said, "Have you met the Queen? What's she like?" I always said she can be very awkward sometimes, you know, and she can be difficult sometimes, but and so they then go to the Queen, give them their camera and say, "Can you take a picture of us with Dick?" And of course the Queen does that. But then Dick put them out of their misery and said, "Look, I'm going to take a picture of you with this lady as well." And he said, and then when they left, the Queen said to him apparently, "I wonder when they get home, who's going to tell them first who they actually met?" They had no idea, even when they left, that they'd actually met the Queen. So it's a great sense of humour. So, you know,
and she loved it when things went wrong. I think the Duke did as well on a royal tour.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
and when they
think
couldn't get the plane, when they couldn't get the the steps up to the plane so they couldn't get off the plane. I remember that, yeah. He was screaming at them.
Well, they got stuck in the middle of a lake.
Well, that carpet blew up all over the place, yeah.
What was that place in Canada who got stuck in the middle of a lake? You just told me.
Oh, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, I keep forgetting the name. Winnipeg, yeah. Oh, lots of things go wrong, and that makes a royal tour, it really
Yeah,
does.
it does, yeah. Well, you hope things do go wrong, yeah, because then you get a good story out of it.
Thank you both for that lovely presentation. I'd be interested in your thoughts on Sarah Ferguson, because she's been sort of whitewashed out of history a little bit, but I thought she was gorgeous and fun and lovely. What were your impressions of Fergie?
I agree with you. I think she was lovely, and I did a lot of amazing trips with her. She was very, very open about things. I remember we were in, I think, and if you were in it, Jen, we were in California, and she was making a speech, and someone gave her a wolf whistle. And she said, "Oh, I'll catch you later," in the middle of the speech, So, she was fun, but she couldn't stand being a member of the royal family. I remember she told me once that she was going on a holiday to Barbados or somewhere like that, and there was a royal event happening in London, and they said, "You can't go to there. Actually, we don't want pictures of you in a swimsuit in Barbados going in the papers instead of this royal visit." I can't remember what it was now, maybe a visit from a foreign head of state, but and so she just couldn't cope with that. She hated it, and she got out. And I mean, her and Andrew still live together. I mean, they just never really parted, but she didn't want to be a member of the royal family anymore. But she's totally supporting her husband to this day. And funny enough, this year at Sandringham Christmas Day, I was there, and she was there for the first time she went to church with Andrew, and I thought that was pretty good. And that's when I think the king has sort of embraced it more in these private occasions now. He and she are there now, and I think that's what's really nice about what he's doing. But she was such a lovely person, and she was just great. I remember once I was at an occasion in Dorking, and she went to sit down, and the chair wasn't there, and she fell back, and all the dress went up in the air, and I just didn't take it. I grabbed her and helped her up and sat her down, and I never forgot that, and she never forgot it either. And whenever I needed a picture, she would give me a picture. Because she said, she sort of appreciated what I did, or what I didn't do that day, and she really, and I tell you, it paid off so many times with her.
She was just rather unwise, wasn't she,
Well,
in those
she was,
years,
yeah,
and
she was,
trying to
yeah.
sell access to Andrew. And then, gosh, I remember so well in the Annus Horribilis, which was already very horribilis. And I thought I was going to have a bit of time off in August, July, August, when the phone went 5 o'clock in the morning. "Jen, need you in the office." What now? We've had the Morton book, we've had the India trip, we've had this, that, and the other. Oh, it's Fergie. She's been caught having her toes sucked by a financial advisor.
Oh,
She's
God.
topless. Oh dear, in the south of France. In I go. God, I'm a serious journalist. I present the Today programme and do all the other things. And now I've got to talk about someone having their toes sucked while they're topless in the south of France.
I